Welcome back. Most of this batch is P5 themed due to my recent playthrough of the game. Right after my first playthrough of SMT5, right after my 130 hour playthrough of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think I have a prop. Chapter 21, Myriad Truths Revealed. The concept for this one was the idea of Izanami targeting other party members during the finale, not just you, resulting in team members sacrificing themselves for each other, like Yukiko for Chie, and the emotional toll that would have on the team. The specific focus here is on Chie, because her self-loathing in the finale makes me want to hug her and tell her she's super useful to the team. Atlas there prioritising the virgin new bitch over the superior classic cast once again. And speaking of, Chapter 22, Sisters in Rejection. It really frustrates me that Persona 4 Golden will insist on having Marie show up at the end of your Valentine's date, even if you turned her down, so she can force her feelings onto you. I don't think she even does that in the epilogue, where she's meant to openly admit her feelings if you turn her down. So I had the idea for an equally rejected Rise to show up and confront Marie about her actions. Chapter 23, The Queen and the Goddess. I really enjoy the idea of party members having friends outside of the party and confidants having connections to more of the team than just the protagonist and whoever they happen to share a class with. And with Joker learning strategies from hanging out with Hifumi, it only makes sense that the team's dedicated strategist would have reason to meet with Hifumi and bond over their similar circumstances. Chapter 24, Confessions of a Different Kind. This one begins with my fun little headcanon that Haru lets her friends come over to talk about their problems over tea and biscuits, then has her confess her feelings for Joker, even though he's already dating her best friend. And this is why I don't do set continuity with these stories, since I think it's more effective if it's Makoto she feels like she's betraying, not Anne, who is usually dating Joker in these. Chapter 25, Valentines with Friends. The Phantom Thieves hang out on Valentine's Day evening with the girls handing out chocolate to the guys and voicing their appreciation for them. And yes, Yoshizawa is actually in this one. Chapter 26, The Reality He Fell in Love With. This one is the kind of thing I wish P5R did with its third semester. Give the player a chance to actually debate the merits and issues with Maruki's false reality, instead of just having the team decide it's wrong and that's the extent of it. This story, in particular, highlights how personal this is, with Joker seeing the effect it's had on his girlfriend, Anne in this case, and how much I like to think she influenced the moral code of the Phantom Thieves. Chapter 27, To Sleep, Temper Chance, To Dream. If the P3 and 5 dancing games take place inside a shared dream, there's no reason other characters can't be brought into it to dance too. Hence, Joker asked the twins to bring Kawakami in next time, and they do. It would have been part of the Trickster's journal, but the format of that series wouldn't work with a dream they won't remember when they wake up, nor with the framing of the story from Kawakami's perspective. A friend even commissioned these great renders from Thanos Pakidis based on the story. Go check both of them out, they do good stuff. In fact, that same friend even suggested the title for Chapter 28, Victory Lap. I reached that scene in my most recent playthrough of P5, right around the time it was discovered that the scene was actually intended to show the domestic abuse Ryuji suffers from his so-called friends on screen. Naturally, I had to write a version of the scene where the group are written in character as people who care deeply about their friends and don't go out of their way to hurt them, much like the prior Hot Springs series I did. I'd wanted to do this one for a while, but didn't have much of an angle to come at it from. Then I realised it could be effective if approached from Joker's perspective, with Ryuji's best friend having a very emotional reaction to it all. Hopefully, if you've read my other stories and seen how I typically characterise Joker, you'll be able to see the contrast here. Chapter 29, Play Buddies. Continuing the Ryuji Appreciation Project, I wanted to highlight how he has a lot of good chemistry with Futaba as well, with the two just hanging out and playing video games, since I think Ryuji could really help keep Futaba from feeling lonely after Joker goes home at the end of the game. Chapter 30, Another Confession. This one is kind of a fun parallel to the first chapter, Yosuke inviting a friend up to the school roof to confess his past sins. There's a lot that can be said about Yosuke's treatment of Kanji in Persona 4, but the unused romance dialogue paints the picture of a closeted gay or bisexual teen projecting onto Kanji in a toxic manner. And there's a lot you can do with that, but people tend not to. The virgin, Yosuke is gay for you just because, versus the Chad, Yosuke realises he likes guys and gains perspective on his treatment of Kanji, who is just the most supportive cinnamon roll. OMG guys, you don't even know. And now for this episode's bonus story, Phantom Data. While playing P5D last year, I had Makoto accompany Yusuke in one of his dances, which takes place in Madarame's palace, a palace Makoto never gets the chance to see because palaces collapse at the end of the arc. Thus, this is her first time ever seeing it, and the idea of the cast commenting on palaces, shadows, and events they never got to see has a lot of potential, particularly with viewing each other's awakenings and reflecting on themselves and each other as a result. So, Futaba comes across some video files in Prometheus' database, going back as far as Joker's awakening down in the dungeons. She thinks letting everyone else see this stuff would be really cool, cool and so brings it all to the real world for them to all watch, each chapter focusing on one character in particular. As of right now, 5 chapters have been released, after a year-long break due to committing to making up a semi-awakening scene for Haru without actually having an idea for it, but that one's out and I'm going to try to finish the story by the end of the year. And no, Yoshizawa isn't in this one because I completely forgot she existed when I started. True to form, Atlas's new girls are either completely bland and forgettable, or the epitome of offensively bad newcomers. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended channel is Faz, who has been scouring Royal's files for cut content to expose like the original Ryuji scene. And with the upcoming PC release, these mods will be available for anyone who wants Royal to be an actual improvement over vanilla and not just more of the same.